Today, I want to talk about a concept of sovereignty, of energy sovereignty, that I think it's the right time to talk about it. And the issue is kind of an ongoing theme, which is boundaries, right? And boundaries in a pretty overwhelming world. Just a quick check with yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. What's your energy level right now? Just check in with yourself, 10 being the highest. And now think about yesterday. How many times did you feel energy drain? Suddenly, noticeably, during the day, in the evening. Just think about that. What is the cycle of fluctuation of your energy? And maybe look, it was a conversation with a person that left you exhausted. Maybe you were scrolling through news or social media for 10 minutes and then felt drained afterwards. A work meeting somehow depleted you for hours afterwards, or being in a crowded space that drains you without really knowing why. This happens a lot as an obligation that you said yes to. You really meant no, or someone else's crisis becoming your emergency. Welcome to the modern energy crisis. We're just tired, but we're not just tired from a lack of sleep or too much work. We're also experiencing systemic energy depletion from 1,000 tiny leaks that we haven't quite learned to protect ourselves against. So here's what's happening. You start the day with a certain amount of vital energy. It's your battery charge, however many bars of energy you think you got. Then throughout the day, you drain that battery. And some are necessary, like work, caregiving, some genuine emergencies. Some are unconscious, like poor boundaries, people pleasing. Some are invisible, like environmental, emotional, energetic. But by day's end, you are running on empty. And the scary part is you don't even know where all that energy went. And you blame yourself. I must not have enough willpower. I should be able to handle more. You should on yourself. Everyone else seems fine. What's wrong with me? But here's the truth. Nothing is wrong with you. It's quite possible that you're just giving away your energy and you gotta learn to protect it. So today, that's what we're going to explore. What actually drains your vital energy? Obviously, beyond the obvious, right? And so we want to learn how to recognize energy drains in real time. So, energy sovereignty, it isn't about becoming selfish, right? It's not about being isolated. It's about being clear on what you can genuinely give from fullness rather than depleting yourself to emptiness. Your energy is your life force. And when you protect it, you protect your health, you protect your relationships, you protect your capacity to serve and to be fully alive. Understand a lot of C's about yourself in this. And I'll explain how energy actually drains. You wake up, you have 10 out of 10 bars. You start and you look at what might have given you that capacity. Sleep quality is probably the biggest factor. Stress levels, cortisol regulation, your nutritional status, your blood sugar, your inflammation levels, your state of your nervous system, whether you're parasympathetic or sympathetic. And for a lot of you, this is the case. It's your emotional state, your unprocessed emotions. Throughout the day, you have to assess whether things draw energy, which depletes you, maintain energy, which keeps you neutral, or add energy, which restores you. It's why I've heard you go to the temple grounds and do all the qigong and the stuff, because no one's restoring themselves. It's not part of the daily hygiene in our culture, is it? But the problem is most people are excellent at depleting activities, and they're terrible at the restorative ones. probably completely unaware of the neutral zone where they could just conserve, right? So, roughly four categories of energy drains. Category one, digital energy vampires. The obvious bad guys, right? We're talking about social media, we're talking about the news, this dopamine roller coaster of constant micro stress. You have the comparison that depletes your self worth and your vitality. You have the outrage and the fear that trigger sympathetic activation, fight or flight, and the decision fatigue that comes from endless content. So, scattered attention, you've heard me say this a million times, equals scattered energy. And so the research shows that every notification creates a cortisol spike in your body. Even checking your phone quickly fragments your attention for about 23 minutes afterwards. So the problem with this email and messaging is that your constant availability actually equals constant vigilance, which in turn equals constant drain. And the switching of context, it depletes cognitive resources. I was working on this document. Mom called, was working on this document. The dog barked, ooh, squirrel, right? And so we consistently pop out and change our context. And we leave open loops with unfinished tasks that also need background energy. And screen time, my goodness. First of all, the blue light dysregulates your circadian rhythm. It affects your sleep. It depletes your next day energy. We've all heard this. But sitting still while your mind races creates very interesting energetic congestion. It scatters and disrupts the flow of your energy. And one of the things that this crap has been billed as, and it's just not true, is that you're substituting real connection for digital ones. And that drains without restoring. The second category I would call relational energy drains. This one we just did a talk on a few weeks ago, energy vampires. There are people in your life that suck your energy. You have the victim. Every conversation is a crisis. They never take responsibility. They don't take action. They drain you with endless problems, but no solutions. And you feel exhausted after pretty much every interaction. Or you might live with a narcissist where every conversation centers on them. There's no reciprocity. There's no genuine interest in you. So it takes your energy to feed their ego, and you feel invisible. You feel depleted. Then there's the drama creator. They manufacture chaos and pull you in. They create urgency around non-urgent things. And your nervous system activates just hearing from them. You dread those interactions. Maybe you lived with a boundary pusher, someone who ignores your no, who guilt trips you when you set limits, or makes their needs your emergency. You feel controlled, you feel resentful. Listen, there's also good people in wrong roles. You could have a friend in a perpetual crisis, and that leads to something we call compassion fatigue in psychology. They're not even trying to be an asshole. They're just in a bad place, and you feel bad for them. There's family members who take without giving. Everyone's got that in their family. There's the colleague who constantly needs help, but never reciprocates. There's also that relationship that used to nourish, but now it depletes. It's not always about bad people, folks. Sometimes it's just about mismatched energetic dynamics, if you will, or seasons where someone just needs more than they can give. But you got to be mindful of this because you're the one who is feeling tired, aren't you? Category 3 is the environmental and the situational drains. Did a whole couple movies on this, a series on this. Your physical environments, cluttered, chaotic spaces, visual overwhelm. We have the Sanctuary course, which is all about this in the academy. Fluorescent lighting jacks up your nervous system, poor air quality, It's subtle, but it's a real drain. Noise pollution, which is constant low level activation of your nervous system and your neuroception. You're not safe. You're not safe. Crowds in confined places. This is sensory overload for sensitive people. And then there's situational drains, right? Like you're commuting in traffic. So you have frustration, immobility. Those things deplete you. Meetings that could be emails, which is time and attention waste. Unfinished projects, which are psychological weight. And we have so many of them. And then just generalized clutter and disorganization, which leads to even more decision fatigue. So a lot of people are living or working in spaces that don't feel like their own. It's incredibly depleting. And then the fourth category I'd like to call internal energy drains. These are overlooked, but they're massive. Let's talk about unexpressed emotions, suppressed anger. It takes an enormous amount of energy. It's just like this powerful surge that you have to spend so much energy keeping down, lest they see, lest they judge you, right? Unprocessed grief, constantly draining you in the background. Hidden resentment, slow poison, chronic anxiety. None of you have this, but it's sympathetic activation, which leads to depletion. And we all have a lot that we have to face with our unaligned actions. Doing work that you hate, massively draining. Staying in wrong relationships, it's constant effort. Living out of alignment with our values, which is internal conflict at its highest degree, which is incredibly depleting. And people pleasing, we just did a call on this, saying yes when you mean no. It's an energy drain. We also have mental loops that we run through. Rumination, which is the same thoughts on repeat, total waste of energy. Worrying about the future, which depletes you because the anxiety takes you out of the present. Regret about the past, that guilt, that shame, they drain your vitality. And perfectionism, never good enough. That's exhausting. That really is. These internal drains, they show up as physical sensations. They could be a tight chest. They could be shallow breathing. They could be collapsed posture. They could be gut tension. When you learn to read these signals, you can catch the drains in real time and you could correct. So let's just practice reading your energy state right now. For interoception, your internal sensing, what's your actual energy level in your body? Not what you think it should be. Like, what's your energy level right now? For me, it's 3:17 Central Time after a pretty busy day. Okay, I know my number. Where do you feel vital and alive? And where do you feel depleted? Notice your gut. Is it tight? Is it relaxed? Is it bloated? We just skip over to proprioception, your positioning. Is your posture, is it collapsed or is it upright? Are you holding tension? Ugh, you're always doing this kind of crap. Trying to crack your neck or fix your back somehow. Where is it? Is it a defensive posture? Can you even take a full breath right now or is it shallow? Breath restriction is incredibly depleting. And now let's go to exteroception or exterior sensing. How is your sensory tolerance? Are the lights too bright? Are the sounds too grating? Because that depletes your nervous system. Are you contracted or are you open to your environment? And is the space that you're in nourishing or draining you right now? Just check these three streams, right? And do this multiple times a day. You'll start to recognize energy drains as they happen, not hours later. We're talking about boundaries because a lot of you are guilty as charged when we talk about boundaries. It's a big deal in our community. Understanding boundaries as energy management becomes a big part of what we do because they're not about being mean. They're not about being selfish. They're about being honest with your energy accounting. When you say yes to something, you're also saying yes to the energy expenditure it comes with. And when you're saying no to something else, there's an opportunity cost with that. So you're making a commitment from a finite resource. Yeah, you can replenish your energy, but not all at once. So poor boundaries lead to chronic energy depletion, which then leads to resentment. It leads to burnout and it leads to illness. So there's three levels. Is a nice way of looking at this in boundary management if you were to partition it out. So level one would be awareness boundaries, like an internal level, right? So these are boundaries within yourself, like the foundation is being aware of your energy budget. How much energy do I actually have today? Honestly, what are my non negotiable restoration practices? Because you got to protect these first. I just need to go lay down for 10 minutes. I'm going to do my 5 count breathing. I'm going to do my Qigong, whatever it is. What is essential versus optional today? And I like a 24-hour rule on this. Don't say yes to anything non urgent immediately. Hey, you know what? Let me check my calendar and get back to you. It gives you time to check in with your actual capacity. And you can do a body check in, like before agreeing to anything, pause and feel in your body. Is it expansive? It aligned? That might be a yes. Or is it constricted? Is it dread? Is it feel like obligation? Because it's probably a no. Your body knows before your mind even rationalizes it. So please learn to trust that. Level two would be interpersonal boundaries, the external ones. These are boundaries with people. The clear no, when you practice these exact phrases, is I don't have the capacity for that right now. You know what? I can't take that on. Yeah, it doesn't work for me. I'm sorry, but I need to decline. No explanation needed, no complete sentence. Why we struggle is we're afraid of disappointing others. We're afraid of being seen as selfish. We're afraid of conflict. We're afraid of rejection. We're afraid of not being liked. But you need a reframe on this one. Every time you say yes, when you mean no, you are betraying yourself and you are building resentment towards the other person. That's worse for the relationship than an honest no. And we can consider a qualified yes when you want to help, say, and have limited capacity. You know what? I could do X, but not Y. Okay. I could help for 30 minutes, not an hour. I could do that next week, today. I could support you in this way, but not that way. These are really important skills. I don't know how many of you are practicing these, but I promise you, your stuck energy, your missing energy is on the other side of some of these statements. And for the victim drama creator, look, I care about you, but I'm not able to hold space for this today. Set time limits. Hey, you want to have 10 minutes to talk. And don't get pulled into problem solving for someone who won't help themselves. It's a really important point. Don't waste your time. Don't put good energy after that. And if you have a boundary pusher, repeat your boundary calmly. As I said, I can't do that. Okay. And there's an acronym, JADE, for this: justify, argue, defend, explain. Don't bother. Be prepared to end the conversation. If you have a boundary pusher, you can just say, you know what? I need to go now. Sayonara. And if you have a taker coming after you, notice the imbalance. You can articulate this if you need to. Look, I've been showing up for you, but I need support too. Stop offering to help automatically because the taker won't stop taking that. And wait to see if they notice or they reciprocate. And for this, I think it's really important to have a relationship audit. Each significant interaction, just ask, do I feel more energized or depleted after this? Is this relationship reciprocal or does it feel one-sided? Am I being authentic or am I performing? Is this nourishing or is this obligatory? And if something is consistently depleting you, that relationship, in my humble opinion, needs renegotiation or reduction. Not necessarily elimination, but good, honest boundaries. Level 3 would be environmental boundaries, structural ones. There are systemic protections, right? We've talked about this in multiple calls, but I'll just review them here. You have digital boundaries. Put your phone on airplane mode during restoration time. No phones in the bedrooms. Charge them elsewhere. Delete the apps that consistently drain you. Turn off notifications. Batch email. Check 2-3 times a day, not constantly. Do not disturb. It's a function on your phone. Set hours. Protect your peak energy around this. And then set time boundaries, right? Block your protected time on your calendar for non-negotiable self-care and build buffer time between commitments. Because the transition, it's essential, but like we don't 4 to 4:30, I'm doing this, and then 5 to, no, you got to pee, you got to take a breath, whatever it is. Don't forget that. Make sure you say no to bad meetings when it's possible. And I prefer to guard my morning and evening routines fiercely because that's what keeps me sane. And then there's space boundaries. Create spaces that are only yours, like an energetic sanctuary. My kids are not allowed in this office for good reason, right? For good reason. This is my sanctuary. And I like to minimize time in depleting environments when possible. I don't go through the fragrance aisle at the mall, ever. I know better. Gives me a headache. Curate your physical space, make it intentional, and remove the clutter everywhere you can, because it's a visual and it's an energetic drain. Social boundaries, this is where I think a lot of you might have trouble, is limiting obligatory social events, choosing quality connections over quantity. And I promise you, it's okay to be unavailable sometimes. So protect your alone time for introverts, especially. You need it. You need it. And so, look, this doesn't happen overnight, but start building your awareness on the first week. Know what's draining you, know what's going on, know what's restoring you. And then the second week, let's start with one boundary, the biggest one. And then we expand, and then we integrate, then we expand, then we integrate. This is how it works. Resentful giving helps nobody. And good boundaries, they make space for aligned, joyful giving. And it allows for the right people to respect your boundaries. And when someone pushes on your boundary, look, that's information. People who genuinely care about you will respect your limits. And people who only value what you give them, those are the ones that will resist. And the question is, do you need those people? Because I don't. Okay, I hope this was helpful. I'll jump to the questions for a second. I do have a heart out, so I'll take a quick look. Hope everyone's good. And again, for those of you who just walked in, I was mobile last week. I couldn't get the call going on my phone. Turns out it ain't that sexy. So let's go to chat. What is this? Explain the testing I read. 199, 299. Oh, so 199 is just the testing for the gut test. 299 includes the Jeff Bland's Gut Healing Masterclass, and includes all the assets for Interconnected. Some people want the materials, some people don't. And that's the difference between the two of CT. If you just want the test, do the 199. All right, folks, I have a few more topics, and then I'm done with this round. I'm going to survey you all. For those of you who haven't started the monthly reading, let me explain what it looks like. Yo, you got to start. It's a big book. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's not like a page turner where you're like, oh man, I'm jamming. And someone had mentioned this when they were doing the ebook version of it, the audio version, is you run to the different ones, almost like the I Ching, where each of them has its own information. So it's more of a reference book that you poke around on. But again, this is the size. We're gonna wait till like mid-January to review it, but the book is called The Gene Keys. It's very interesting, but it's a good book. So just letting you know, you're not gonna cram it in a week. All right. I will see you all next week. Be well.